Hello friends, welcome to the Simplest Vedic Astrology course. Simple doesn't mean that... simple doesn't mean that everything will get done within 2 minutes. The meaning of simple is that you still have to go through some chapters, but you will be able to understand it in a simple way. You don't need to go through Sanskrit names, you don't need to go through concepts that you don't understand, but you will be able to understand concepts in very simple words. So that's the simplest Vedic astrology, right? So there are still chapters. The previous chapter was quite long, but I'm hoping to shorten the next chapters. So this chapter is quite short. The idea of this chapter is, as we discussed in the previous chapter, if a planet is in a certain zodiac, is it doing well? Does it have a lot of power? Is it being energized? For example, let's say I am a cricketer. I will have more power as a cricketer if I am on the cricketing ground, right? Or let's say I am a tailor. I will have more power as a tailor if I am in my tailoring studio, jahan pe I have my tailoring machine. Or let's say I am somebody who distributes petrol at a petrol pump. I will do better if I am at the petrol pump rather than being in a park, right? So similarly, a planet will have higher power in a certain zodiac, and a planet will have lesser power in a certain zodiac, and a planet has its natural environment. Matlab, it will have its natural home ground, let's say, right? So like RCB has a home ground as Bangalore. Delhi Super Kings, Chennai Super Kings have Chennai as a home ground. Similarly, like Sun or Surya as a planet has a home ground of Leo. So we will take a quick look at a chart which will show us which planet is doing good in which zodiac, and we will also try to understand the logic. So you will be able to understand why it is doing good, why it is not doing good. Right? Now, the first and foremost thing is we went through this chart before also, right? So the position of Aries will never change in any of the South Indian charts. Aries is always going to be here. Taurus will always going to be here. Gemini is always going to be here. Cancer always here. Leo always here. So one of the most important things that we need to understand is the position of the zodiac does not change above the sky or outside of the earth on this chart. It never changes. Only in the South Indian Vedic astrology chart, only the house numbers change. And we teach using the South Indian astrology chart so that it's easy to remember. For the break, symmetry is it's easy. If you see a big clock, it's easy to tell the time because it always moves clockwise. If you get some random very expensive watch, jisme there are no minute and seconds, it's very difficult to see the time. So for a beginner or for somebody who's starting, it's very easy to use a South Indian chart, and that's why we use a South Indian chart. We always go this way, right? So depending upon the ascendant, we always count the house numbers, and we have not reached that point where we start predicting. But first and foremost thing that we understand is that zodiac does not move. It's always here. Aries is always here. Taurus is always here. Gemini is always here. Cancer is always here. Right? Aries is, as we studied before, it is Mesha, that is the male sheep, and they are always head first. They are always ready to hit another male sheep or something else to do to win a battle. Right? Taurus is the bull. A bull is heavy. A bull does not move much. They are very patient. They are very peaceful. They are very quiet. They are stubborn. They are dependable, and they are the most stable of the zodiac. So Taurus is the most stable. Right? So Aries is ruled by Mars. Scorpio is ruled by Mars. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Virgo is also ruled by Mercury. So we studied this. Gemini is the playful part of Mercury, and Virgo is the analytical, service-oriented, operational part of Mercury, right? Leo is ruled by Sun, and Cancer is ruled by Moon, right? So you have Cancer, which is the Karka or the crab or the Kekra, right? Kekra lives between emotions and between practicality. Kekra also signifies motherly nature, nurturing qualities, right? Leo is the Simha, which is a lion. Virgo is the maiden or the young girl, कन्या. कन्या लड़की होती है. तो ये ऐसी लड़की है जो बहुत प्रिसाइज है, बहुत एनालिटिकल है, बहुत स्किलफुल है, बहुत ऑर्गेनाइज्ड है, बहुत कोई भी आप काम दो, whatever work you give to Virgo, she does it really well, right? So Libra is always the balance, and then Scorpio is, Scorpios live in a hiding at all times. They hide their emotions, they're mysterious. And Sagittarius is half man and half animal. And Sagittarius is basically an archer with a bow and arrow. The arrow always pointing towards a long direction, in search of knowledge, in search of wisdom, in search of other things, higher yearnings. Capricorn is half goat and half fish. It's basically a mountain goat or a sea goat, and it's always climbing that mountain very softly, swiftly, in a structured, organized way. Right? Aquarius is a water bearer. You have a pot and water is coming out of the pot. Water is being distributed to a lot of people, groups of people, networks of people. Water is nothing but knowledge in this case. And Pisces. Pisces is about fish. There are two fish. One fish is trying to go into the practical world, other into the emotional world or spiritual world. Pisces signifies emotions, imagination, dreams. They're always dreaming and they're always in their own world, right? So we've gone through this and we just revised it once again. So this chapter has only one chart and we will only look at one chart. Most importantly, right? So on the left we have planets. In the second column we have all the zodiac signs, and we have some logic as to why there is something called exalted and there's something called debilitated. We will not look into the meanings of exaltation and debilitation. We will just call it as high in power, low in power, and something called Mulatrikona sign also, which also I'll explain in a few seconds. Right? So exaltation is nothing but, let's say a planet is living in a 5-star hotel, right? So that is exaltation. If a planet is living in just a single room somewhere, let's call it as debilitation. It's not part of this, but I'll just explain it to you. And then if a planet is living in an office, which is a beautiful office, and the planet is ready to work professionally, it is the best place to work, let's call it as Mulatrikona, right? So you just need to know a few things over here. Exaltation simply means a planet is in a zodiac and its power is increasing because of being in that zodiac. एक कोई भी zodiac में रहने की वजह से एक planet का अगर power बढ़ रहा है, जैसे हमने बात करी थी Sun और Aries की. Aries is ruled by Mars and Aries is represented by a male sheep. तो वो लड़ने के लिए तैयार रहता है. तो Sun is also a warrior, and a warrior and warrior always go together. So जब Sun या Surya goes and sits inside Aries, Sun is always exalted, right? So in this case, if Sun is exalted in Aries, मतलब Sun का power अगर ज़्यादा हो रहा है Aries पे, तो 180 degrees opposite to Aries is always going to be Libra. So Aries यहाँ पे है, तो Libra यहाँ पे है. Right, let's clean this up. Give me a second. Okay. So, when I say Sun in Aries is exalted, Sun का power यहाँ पे बढ़ रहा है, तो 180 degrees from here, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, यहाँ पे Sun का power घटता है. So, Sun exalted and this is Sun debilitated. Right? So let's go here. Similarly, moon, as we discussed earlier, moon represents the mind. It represents emotions, right? What is the most important thing that a mind requires? A mind requires a place where it can be stable. In the sense, you need a stable environment. And the most stable environment in the zodiac is none other than Taurus. Alright? So moon will always have higher powers in Taurus compared to any other zodiac. Right? Now, let's go back and say, okay, moon in Taurus will do really good. That means moon in Scorpio will not do good, because we discussed this also. Moon is emotions, moon requires stability. But Scorpio is always in a hiding. Scorpio is in deep, in a depth of emotion, right? So emotion and a depth of emotion don't go together. Emotion requires stability. That's why you have Taurus, where moon is always exalted. Moon ka power zyada badh jata hai. Moon's power goes up and moon's power goes down in Scorpio. So this is again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is 1, this is 7. So you have 6 positions away, which is 180 degrees from here. Alright? Now, let's go back and say Mars. Mars is the warrior, right? And what does a warrior mean? Let's say I am the warrior. I have the energy to go to war, but I need a strategy, right? I need the discipline, I need the strategy. And that strategy and discipline can only come from Capricorn, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, right? So Saturn gives that discipline to Mars, discipline and structure to Mars, with which he can create the strategy and he can go and fight. So Mars is always having a higher power in Capricorn, right? And Mars is always Mula Trikona in his own sign, which is Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars, right? So similarly, Moon has the best Mula Trikona in Taurus, and Sun has the Mula Trikona in Leo. Okay. Now let's go back here and say we had Capricorn, right? So we have Mars, which is having very high power in Capricorn. So the opposite is Cancer. So Mars will not do good in Cancer, because Cancer is the crab, right? Crab is emotional, nurturing, etc., etc. So Mars does not require that. It's opposite to each other. So Mars will never do well in Cancer. It's always less power. So high power in Capricorn, where it gets the strategy, the structure from Saturn, right? Now let's go back to Mercury. Mercury does very well in Virgo, because Mercury is intelligence, Virgo is the execution, right? I have a smart idea, I want to execute it. It can only happen in Virgo. So Mercury can only be supported by Kanya. So Mercury is always high power in Virgo, right? And Mercury is also Mula Trikona in Virgo, right? Mercury does well in Virgo only. Okay. Similarly, you see Jupiter. Jupiter does well in Cancer. Cancer is again the crab, right? Jupiter is the planet of intellect and wisdom and learnings and teaching, right? So if you become too intellectual, you need somebody to give you the reality of emotions. Assume that you are a person, you are becoming too intellectual. You need to come back to this world and see the emotions, and those emotions can only be shown by Cancer. So Jupiter's power goes up in Cancer. And Jupiter is the teacher. So a teacher archetype will always do good in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is a Mula Trikona, right? So similarly, if Jupiter is doing good in Cancer, Jupiter will also not do good in Capricorn, right? So Again, the 180-degree principle. You have Jupiter here doing really good. Jupiter will not do good here. Right? Similarly, you have Venus. Venus is all about beauty and emotions and harmony and such things. So Venus will always do good in Pisces, because Pisces is also almost the same. Pisces is always about emotions. It's always about dreams. Pisces is always about being in a completely different world. So Venus will always do well in Pisces. And if Venus does well in Pisces, it will not do well in Virgo, because Virgo is all about analytics, analysis, service, precision, skill, which the Kanya is all precise. So Venus never wants all this. So Venus is always doing bad here. Venus's power is going up in Pisces, right? Similarly, Saturn requires a balance. So Saturn is always exalted in Libra. Its power is doing good in Libra. Similarly, Saturn does not like the sheep, the male sheep or the ram or the Aries. So Saturn's power goes down in Aries, because Aries is impulsive, right? But Saturn also has his own sign, that is Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, where Saturn is a Mula Trikona sign, right? And then coming to Rahu and Ketu. So Rahu is always doing good in Taurus and not doing good in Scorpio. Similarly, Ketu is the opposite of Rahu. Ketu does well in Scorpio. Ketu doesn't do well in Taurus. Because Taurus is materialistic, Ketu is not materialistic. Rahu is all about expansion, so it requires some stability. So Taurus gives that stability. Similarly, Rahu does not do well in Scorpio. So, so this was a very simple lesson on how planets are whether powerful or not powerful in different signs, right? So the difference between exaltation, debilitation and Mula Trikona. You don't need to remember exalted, debilitated, Mula Trikona. The simple things that you need to remember is the planets are in a 5-star hotel here, right? And here they are in the best office for their work. Right? If I'm a tailor, it is better I be in my tailoring studio. Right? If I'm a boxer, it is better I'm in the gym. So similarly, Mula Trikona is the office where the planet has a lot of power here. The planet will use the power here in its Mula Trikona sign. Okay, so we'll move to the next chapter. I'll meet you in the next chapter, guys. Thank you.